Welcome back to the next day. So, I've broken in the woods my L2500 Kubota tractor, 4-wheel drive. What we're looking at today is possibly fixing the fuel tank. But first thing is these splines here on the front input shaft. Come on. I'll turn the light on for you. There you go. Okay. See how the splines on the input shaft are tweaked up at the front and kind of rounded, but they look a little decent in the back. So we're going to see if we can get the coupling to go deeper, further onto that shaft to make engagement. So that's one of the things we're going to work on. The other thing was the fuel tank. So I'll show you more of that in a moment. Welcome back to another day of Broken in the Woods reassembly portion. So today, what I'm going to work on is torquing all of the bolts that hold the two housings together, reconnecting the hydraulics, reconnecting the fuel filter and the accelerator linkages that I had disconnected, and slowly putting everything back together. Now I have the fuel tank over here that is leaking, of course, so we're gonna take a look at what we could possibly do to this seam. I'm thinking we wire brush both sides, we clean it up really well, we take some JB Weld or something similar, and we just go over the top of the whole thing from one end to the other. That's my way of fixing it. There may be a better way of fixing it that we're going to discuss with the crew. We might try to weld it. But yeah, let's get this thing put back together so we can get operational. See, here's the wiring harness. I've got to route back through. I can either put new cables on or leave these. I think I'd like to put the new cables on. A new ground wire and a new positive lead. I also have this hose to replace. That looks a little kinked. Right there. That's going to slow flow down. Right there. Look at that. Not really a good shot. Let's see if we can see it from this angle. Yeah, nice big old fat kink right there. Yep, so that's a low flow area, but I have the proper tube for that. And yeah, let's put it together and see if this thing runs. Well, it should. It was running before we did all this. But anywho, let's get to torquing the bolts, shall we? Okay. So while I was going over the torque specs in the book, I realized that they come in different scales. You have inch pounds, you have Newton meters, and you can see this one has inch pounds on the right and Newton meters on the left. So when I torqued all those nuts and bolts on the clutch plate to 27 inch pounds, what I thought was 27 newtons, 27 Newton meters. 27 Newton meters is off of this scale. So this is the improper torque wrench for the job. The proper torque wrench for the job is this one here. here. And this one is in foot-pounds, as you can see, foot-pounds. So what this calls for is somewhere between 17 and 20 foot-pounds of torque on the clutch plates, bolts. 17.4 to 20.3 foot-pounds. So what I'm trying to do is now go in here, and you can actually come in through here and get to the nuts. So I'm going to go in and tighten this up, torque this one, rotate the engine, tighten that one up, torque that one, rotate the engine, and so on and so forth. So I just want to show you my bad. Make mistakes. I'm glad I caught them now before they created a problem. So let's take care of that. Okay. So what I had to do was go in this inspection port, and you can see, climb. You can see the nuts, the bolts that hold the clutch plate. Can you see them? Anyway, it's basically right here. So I could get on that with a torque wrench and tighten it. Then I could reach up here and spin this, which would cause this to move, so I could make the adjustments and go around, and I basically torque down all six clutch bolts, 24 foot-pounds. And now what we're trying to do is get up there and get the fork bolt tightened down as well. As you can see, it's up there. So get that done, and I'm all ready. Alright, so we have this awesome little tool. Going in and tightening up the shift fork bolt. So happy I was able to get through this window instead of having to split the tractor in half again. You got it, huh? One click at a time. That's all right.
Yeah, it's almost there.
Yep.
I think I'll do one more.
Great job.
Alright, maybe one more.
You want to calibrate yourself to 24?
Alright, that's on there. I ain't going anywhere.
Sweet. Okay, so now what I'm doing is torquing all of the engine bolts to clutch housing. And the book says that's supposed to be between 35 to 41 foot-pounds. So I'm at 25 foot-pounds right now, and I'm going to sneak up on it. I'm going to go around and do 25, and then go back and kind of sneak up on it. So let's see. That is, of course, the wrong size for this. These the right ones are over here. There we go. Neither of those will work. Maybe this one. Okay. Those are a 1/4 inch drive instead of 3/8. And that is still the wrong size. These are going to be 14 mil. Let's see if this guy will work. Yep. 14 mil. Of course, this is the wrong size. Gotta be 1/4 inch. 3/8, excuse me. Let's do that over. Okay. So I'm going to sneak up on these bolts. I've got this at 25 foot-pounds. They call for 35 to 40. So I'm going to go ahead and start working my way around these guys. Adapter for that. All right. 6. That one's already tight. Okay. I can't get on you. Why not? What's the deal? There we go. Okay. 25. 35.5 to 40. So let's go up to 35. So we're at 25. We went up to 30. Actually, no, that's 30. Let's go up to, that is now 35. Okay, we'll go 35. Turn signal. Okay, last one. Okay. 35.5 to 41.2. So we were at 35, and we're going to go to about 39. Okay, and lock that in place. Let's start the other side this time. Just another one. Up, top. This one. They're not really moving. I basically did the same thing to all these clutch nuts, clutch bolts. All right, so that is torqued. I can start reassembling this. While I do that, I'll probably put it on time lapse so you can watch it happen. So hey, let's do that. Thanks for watching. Alright, so I got the fuel filter in, got this thing hooked up, got the accelerator linkage hooked up but not tightened up. I seem to have misplaced the washer and the pin for this, so I need to find that. I'm looking for that. I have installed the lower plate for the fuel tank, and we have found the hole in the fuel tank right there. This is where that plate was resting on, so we'll have to put some sort of pad there to keep this from happening again. But here's where we're at so far. I think we might weld that in place, and that'll be full. So I'm gonna keep at it. The dashboard on, kinda. We're working on bringing the wiring around, kind of moving forward, getting the wiring aligned, getting things hooked back up. So we've figured out with the fuel tank, the hole's right here. We're going to try to weld it. Right now we have it filled full of water, and we're going to go set up the welder and see if we can weld it. So let's get to that in a minute. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken some Gorilla Tape, and I put 3 layers of Gorilla Tape on top of this metal to provide a little bit of a barrier, so it's not metal on the fuel tank when we put the fuel tank back in. So working on welding the fuel tank, but we're waiting on a welding helmet. I'm going to continue to attach these wires and get this thing closer towards operation. So here we go. Okay, so what I've done is I used electronic cleaner. Clean up all of my connectors. And there. I have attached positive leads to the battery, and also put some dielectric grease on all the connections here. That I did not take off the ground wire. I added dielectric in here and here. I added dielectric to that and the temperature sensor. That's the glow plugs. And I swapped the battery around because if you notice, when it comes over here, the positive lead was up against this metal bracket. So I had to switch everything back around. I fed the positive lead through here over to there, and we'll keep the negative lead here. That should all be safe. I got rid of the box, and I'm going to use the hold downs. I'm actually going to strap this battery in as I keep going, because we're doing good. I like it much better without the battery box in there. So we're back to the positive lead on this side and the negative lead on that side, with the leads being at the front instead of the back. So over here, I'm really concerned about these, because these bolts are pretty well rounded and boogered. So I was scraping them out, cleaning them out. I might try to run something through there to clean up the threads. I may even get new bolts. I just don't like that. But it's coming together. I'm pretty sure I have to wait for the fuel tank to go in before I can continue going there. So let's put on the battery mount, shall we? Alright. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be installing. And let's get to it.
Some practice runs. Make sure these rods are set up right.
What we're going to do is we're going to weld this bolt in this hole. So we're filling this tank full of water. And that's going to be fun. I'll show you in a minute.
Serve 2 purposes. It's going to evacuate the fumes so we don't make a little tiny bomb, which would just be super intelligent.
Yeah, right.
And it's also going to provide cooling to the very thin metal.
Yep.
What's up?
There you go. Alright. Hit it a couple times. See, it's filling in a little bit. We'll get the grinder and grind that smooth. Come along.
You see how thin it is there?
Mm-hmm.
Just friggin' heavy, really. Damn, fire's going pretty good. Oh, I guess they're living it. Okay. It's just blowing through. Let's grind it flat and throw the putty in there.
Okay.
See what she does.
There we go.
Otherwise, we're putting